Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. As you can see, Steve and I are in different locations. Steve's in New Jersey and I'm in Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Yeah, here we go again for the second consecutive week. Must
Well,
be nice. It must be nice. That's all I got to say.
it's just the way the calendar worked out, Steve.
Yeah, okay.
But welcome back, everybody. It's the September 25th, 2022, and this is the Sports with Mono and Mono show. So, Steve, we'll jump right into it. I have a monologue this week.
You do?
And the monologue is going to be acknowledgement of a great baseball player who's riding into the sunset. This is Albert Pujols. Hit his 700th home run. And I know you've accused me in the past of saying he's been a compiler kind of thing, but you know what? When he got to that number, it's such a daunting number, Steve, and I have to give him all the credit in the world. And I started to look and say, that's probably certainly the last person in our lifetime that's ever going to get to 700 home runs, and it's quite a milestone. He's been a great ambassador for the game, and he's just built like a brick house, and it's just great to see. And it couldn't be more fitting that he got it out of the way before the season ended, so we didn't have this 699 hanging on until next year. But you know what? I looked. It's an almost impossibility for anybody to get to that milestone today. Just to put it into perspective, I know we were also talking the Judge watch is on, and Steve mentioned he's going to the game tonight. History in the making. Aaron Judge only has 218 home runs, and he's 30 years old. So even if he hits 50 home runs for the next 6 seasons, that only gets him to 500. And he has a history of, not staying extremely healthy, but this was about Albert Pujols, and I think you would agree, Steve, that he is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it's a milestone in baseball. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Albert Pujols when he burst onto the scene? I mean, his first 10 years were Stan Musial, Babe Ruth,
Lou Gehrig,
and the greats, Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, Mantle, that type of thing. But the fact that he's played this long is a testament to his health too. He's universally liked. He's universally respected by his teammates, and this again, he's a St. Louis Cardinal. Minus the stop in L.A. for the big contract for the Angels, but he's right up there with Ted Williams. Stan Musial, but Stan Musial is still the greatest St. Louis Cardinal baseball player ever to grace that franchise.
No question about it.
But Albert Pujols hitting 700. I'm happy for him. And like you said, it's a milestone that won't be matched. Nobody's going to hit 700 again. And hey, congratulations. And let's, Albert Pujols is really nothing to play for. So let's see if this is, he's got a week or two to go before he packs it in. But job well done. What can I say?
No question. We have watched this guy since he was 19 years old in this league. And you're right. His first 10 seasons were amazing. So kudos to him. And let's talk about the Judge watch, Steve. You're going to the game tonight, so you could be seeing some history in the making. And what a season this guy's had, and I've been looking about it and thinking about, this is one of the best seasons we've seen in probably the past 15, 20 years kind of thing, right? But I also, just like you mentioned before, Steve, I keep going back to Lou Gehrig, who is the watermark for me in stats and driving in 185 runs in one season, right? And in 1927, he came up to the plate with the bases empty 60 times, and he still drove in 175 runs. So, this is great though for Judge. I'm pulling for him. Obviously, he's going to get it. It's not a question of when; it's a question of not if. I mean, it's a question of when, right? And for your sake, I hope it's tonight, because that's big history in the making. And as Sports with Mono and Mono fans know, we grew up with the Yankees. We're Yankee historians, and this is big.
Oh yeah, so it's exciting to attend tonight. This will be my first Yankee game since post-pandemic. So it's been at least 3 years since I've attended. I got the tickets probably 3 weeks ago, obviously without the expectation that 61 and 62 possibly could happen tonight. So during the week, I anticipated Judge hitting 2 home runs, and the point would be mute tonight, and they're playing the Red Sox, which is of course the rivalry. I mean, am I being selfish? Yeah, I want to see it. I want to be there for history. I want 2 homers. It'd be great. And back to Aaron Judge. I mean, his season is just beyond, and again, everybody knows he's a pending free agent. The Yankees offered him $200+ million before the season started. And, he's probably, let's be real, even though he's 30 or 31, the price tag is going to be, I would venture now, 380 to possibly 400.
Yep.
Because they cannot allow him to walk out the door. And
it would be unthinkable.
Well, it would be. But again, we've talked about these crazy contracts. But when you have a guy like Aaron Judge as the face of your franchise, and again, when the kid, there's a picture this week of the kid that caught number 60, and there's a picture of him in the dugout, and the kid's crying. But Judge has his arm around the kid, and I almost melted. I swear to God, I saw that picture, and I said, that's what it's all about. Like, we talk about a lot of the thugs and everything in all the 4 major sports, but Aaron Judge is a good guy. He is class, and people are joking with me. Oh, he's going to look good in a San Francisco Giant uniform. He's from Northern California, and I say this to our audience: he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He loves being a New York Yankee. And if he needs the dollars.
And if they got to give him $50 million a year to do it,
he deserves the dollars.
Yep.
And again, we've given out crazy contracts. Alex Rodriguez to, Jacoby Ellsbury is obviously, something that's we get mocked out about, but rightfully so. That was just a bad contract. But Aaron Judge, not going anywhere. There's no chance.
Listen,
Rob,
enjoy the game tonight, because that's a special event. It's going to be a packed house at Yankee Stadium, and enjoy the show.
I will.
And guys, like I said, as soon as Judge signs on the line, he is the new captain of the Yankees. That means a lot.
Yeah,
foregone conclusion. For sure.
Foregone conclusion,
and well needed, because we need the captain.
Yeah,
no, that's right. And there's really no other candidates, to be honest with you. None, like zero.
Nobody else.
No.
So, Steve, let's move on to the National Football League, because last weekend was kind of a wild and crazy weekend, referencing, of course, the improbable comeback by the Jets.
Yes.
Which I didn't get a chance to see because I was driving in the car, and it was hard to believe. Like, just when you think about 10 things in a row that have to go your way, it went their way. It was an unbelievable turn of events, and that was the game of the week, because actually, so with Jim's picks last week, Jim lost that game. Jim lost the Indianapolis game, so I wanted to bring that up too. Your guy Matt Ryan, is this the end of the road for him, kind of thing? Strange, they're 0-2, but so I lost that one. But I did have your guy, and I'll give you credit, Kyler Murray, $49 million a year quarterback, came up big at the end of that game, and they pulled it out against the Raiders. So I was 1-2 this week, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I was 0-3. And again, if there, excuse me, if this was an exact science, it'd be better. But the object during the season is to have a lot more better weeks than bad weeks. So I took it on the chin. And again, I took the Jets. Now the Jets with, I think it was 4 minutes to go. It was a 99.9% probability they were going to lose that game.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally. And, good for the Jets. I mean, that's something that they needed. They needed good fortune, and they did it. And listen, they deserve that win. What they did at the end, even from the onside kick, the ball bounced their way. The guy crushes Amari Cooper. They get that. Flacco, I've been crushing, but Flacco had a good day. This kid, Garrett Wilson, is the real deal from Ohio State. There's no question about it. But the Jets are back to work in 2 hours against the Bengals. I'm going with the Bengals today. I think because the Bengals are 0-2, they're mad, and I'll take Joe Burrow today with the Bengals. As far as the Indianapolis Colts go, it's uncanny. I said on the show, they had to go down to Jacksonville last year and earn a playoff spot, and they didn't. It was embarrassing, and I thought they would come out like gangbusters. And before you blink, it's 17-0. I don't know what's going on in Indianapolis. They have the talent. I do think it's always a tale of two cities, by where I think the Colts, like I said, are talented enough that they could be 0-4. But I think it's a tale of two cities where they'll get a winning streak going, and whether or not they make the playoffs, if they dig their hole too deep, but they're talented enough. So I lost that one. And the Miami Dolphins. I mean, how crazy was it last weekend? Because I had the Ravens. The Ravens are up 28-7. Going into the fourth quarter, I believe it was 35-10, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then lo and behold, Miami has this historic fourth quarter. So it was nuts. So I went 0-3, and
but I'm gonna give you some credit, because that was the first time that I saw Tua, that he may in fact have the tools. He's got two unbelievable wide receivers in Waddle and Hill, which is certainly going to help his cause. But he really did impress me. And I told you I'm not a big buyer of him, but I can't deny what kind of a game it was. But it was that wacky kind of Sunday, and he pulled it out. He had the game of his career.
Oh, he most certainly did. When you throw for 469 and 6 touchdowns,
right?
That's a good day at the office. Now, the only thing about Tua, again, from a talent standpoint, I like him. I do. Now, what's the knock? He can't throw it deep, this, that, and the other thing. Okay. But my main concern with him is he's very fragile. Yeah. So, he's got to stay healthy. And if he stays healthy, the Dolphins over the last 3-4 years have had these high draft picks. They've done some good trading, and they got Jalen Waddle, who's a stud, and they got talent down there.
Yeah, so, they do. Yeah. And, when you think about what a devastating thing it was for that Trey Lance, because I was pulling for this kid. He was finally given the reins and he breaks his ankle, right? So lucky for them, they got the serviceable backup in Garoppolo, but that was terrible news for me. I really like this kid. I liked him coming out of school, and I know he sat on the bench, and now he's getting his chance, and boom, week 1, that's it. It's terrible.
Yeah. So we're sorry, Tony, our big San Francisco 49er fan. But again, the Jimmy Garoppolo story. Now, you just referenced him as a backup. So officially, he was a backup to start the season. But, I'll take him.
Yes.
As the number 1 backup, right? So San Francisco lucked out by not trading him just for the sake of trading him and getting him out. San Francisco is not going to miss a beat as far as I'm concerned.
You're right.
With Jimmy Garoppolo.
You're right.
But Trey Lance, I feel bad about. He got off to a good start in the game. He was running. He had maybe 30 yards already rushing. Yeah. And listen, it's a bad break, and he's going to miss the season, but he's young enough. He'll come back strong. And
I wanted to also, because I know my boys that I was up here fishing with this weekend, they're all Buffalo Bills fans, and they couldn't be more excited. They look like the real deal. And if things go their way, the Bills should be right where we expect them to be in the championship game, and we'll see how that goes. But they had a couple of injuries. I think Micah Hyde is out for the season.
Right.
found that out yesterday, but they really look tough. So I think that's good for the Bills fans. For
The
sure.
only bad thing for the Bills is two guys can't get hurt. One is Josh Allen, one is Stephon Diggs.
That's right.
Outside of that, they'll be fun.
And that is one of the most potent QB wide receiver duos in the league. And that was a smart move by them, stealing them from the Vikings 3 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that really is a heist, really.
Yep. So I'm going to give you my pick, Steve, this week. We see that the Raiders are at the Tennessee Titans. And I got to just think, nobody expected the Titans to be winless so far after 2 weeks, right? Especially against the Giants, kind of thing. And then they get absolutely mauled by Buffalo on Monday night. But they got to bounce back at some point. And I'm not a big David Carr Raiders guy, so I'm going with Tennessee over the Raiders today.
Derek.
Right? And kind of a crappy game because you saw Minnesota kind of got blown out of the building last week, but I still think they got a lot of good talent. And it's Detroit, to me, is still Detroit. I like the fire and Dan Campbell, no question about it, but they just don't have the horses. So I'm going with the Vikings. And then my third game is the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. And I know that it's hard to pick this guy. 1 week, Jameis Winston could light it up. The next week, he could turn the lights out. It's terrible. But I like their chances. They got to bounce back. And again, I'm not sold on this Baker Mayfield thing. And Carolina doesn't seem like a real tough team to me. So those are my picks.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'll take the Bengals over the Jets. I like the Eagles. I think the Eagles are kind of like the Bills right now, playing
really good football.
Really good football. They're at Washington, the Redskins. So I like the Eagles there.
No doubt.
And then my third pick, I'm going to go with. I just had it. I had the Jaguars are at the Chargers. So the Jaguars had a good win, but LA, the Chargers at home with Justin Herbert, forget about it.
What's the
I'm
deal?
I'm all in on the Chargers today.
Right, but what's the deal with Justin Herbert? I mean, if he's got these rib injuries, he's healthy or not?
Right, but he played a Thursday night. He's had 10 days essentially. He's going to wear the Kevlar flak jacket. I mean, if San Diego or the Chargers can run the ball, they'll do that, right?
Yeah,
they'll limit Herbert's touches.
But he looked really hurt. He did.
He
looked hurt.
He did, but at the end of the day, I like the Chargers. Their defense is outstanding, and our loyal listener from Florida said a little bad word about the Eagles. I do not like the Eagles, Mr. Garvey. In fact, I hate the Eagles more than I hate the Redskins.
Me too.
However, I have to go with logic here.
This isn't personal. It's strictly business.
It's not personal. Singing lessons, acting lessons.
This man's making it very, very personal. So anyway, that's our NFL, Steve. Let's touch base real quick on there really was no major upsets yesterday in college football. Notre Dame got back on the winning track. Alabama crushed whoever they played. I think the game of the day was Clemson Wake Forest, and that was a barn burner.
Oh yeah, it was a high scoring.
Yeah.
This kid Sam Hartman at Wake Forest is a damn good quarterback.
Yeah, we liked him.
We do. Both agree. I like this kid a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Clemson's back. I mean, the fact they gave up 45. It's a little concerning, but Clemson is. I think Clemson has a good shot to be in the playoff. I thought the biggest game was Tennessee over Florida, and I think Josh Heupel is doing a great job at Tennessee in such a short time because the place was a disaster for 10 years probably now. And this is Tennessee we're talking about. Yeah. But they have this quarterback, Hendon Hooker, who played last year. He counted for 48 touchdowns last year with 2 interceptions.
Right.
And this is a guy that really a lot of people don't know of. And I got to say, last year, I never heard of him before last year, but
Yeah.
he came back. He's solid at quarterback. He's a senior, but his recruiting has been great. And Heupel has changed the atmosphere at Tennessee. And I think Tennessee finally will come out of the doldrums. I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC. They have a killer schedule, but Tennessee has righted the ship.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and
one
Josh
team that's
Heupel,
hard to figure out is Florida, right? They 1 week they're this and next week they're that. It's kind of
right. I mean, Dan Mullen, I love Dan Mullen, and Dan Mullen got fired because it's Florida. The expectations in the SEC are win or you're gone.
yeah.
So Billy Napier is his first year coach, and he's going to take some lumps. He's got to recruit his players type of thing, and they go from there. So.
And what else?
But that was a good game. That was a good
Yeah.
game, and a signature
So,
win for Tennessee.
What else yesterday? We watched a little bit of the Arkansas Texas A&M game, and Arkansas is a pretty good football team right now.
Yes, they are.
They lost the heartbreaker and clanked off the post, whatever kind of thing, but that was a good game actually.
Right.
And of course, we have to mention our Syracuse Orangemen. Like I told you, these were my buddies we fished with, and they were all in on Syracuse and stuff. Oh, by the way, I think Dino Babers has done a great job at Syracuse.
Dino Babers isn't going anywhere. They have Garrett Schrader at quarterback we talked about, who is the guy can run, number one. But he's the quarterback who took over Tommy DeVito, our local kid from Don Bosco. Was given every chance. He started maybe 10 games in a couple of years, Tommy did. But once Garrett Schrader arrived on campus, man, the job was his. So the big upset yesterday, which I found shocking, was the Miami Hurricanes. So the Miami Hurricanes lost to Middle Tennessee State. Nobody in their right mind would have thought that. Alex Van Dyke, who we've talked about, or I have, I believe, on the show a couple times, is projected as a first-round draft pick. So when we talked about the 7 quarterbacks that potentially could be in the first round this year, Alex Van Dyke had a tough week last week, and Alex Van Dyke got benched by Mario Cristobal. So Alex Van Dyke, his stock is falling rapidly.
Yeah. And I know
that was the biggest upset, I think, of the day.
Yeah. I know one of our loyal listeners, Abe, I think he might actually have been at the Ohio State-Wisconsin game yesterday. Big Badger fan, obviously, from Sheboygan. And but Ohio State, they're impressive. They really are. They got it going. It's so cool
they
to
do.
see.
I mean, Ohio State is what Ohio State is. This is a down year for Wisconsin. I believe they're 1-3 now. But Ohio State, they're going to cruise. And, is it too early to talk about Ohio State, Michigan? Never.
No.
But, Michigan beat up Ohio State last year. And, we'll cover that once we get to it down the road.
Yep. So also, I know Notre Dame got back in the win column. So that's good for Marcus Freeman in the program. So I wanted to make sure we mention that.
They played North Carolina, which is, a better team than the Marshall Thundering Herd that they lost to.
Absolutely.
And, Notre Dame scored 42 points, I believe, 42-35, I think the final was.
Yeah.
But again, defensively, they're giving up a lot of points, and that's a concern. But Notre Dame, like I said last week, this is, let's be happy with a 8-4 or 7-5 type of record, because that's what it's going to be until this killer recruiting class shows up next year.
And I got a soft spot for some reason. I like Mac Brown, so I like the job that he's been doing.
Yeah, I love Mac Brown.
Yeah, so
class. Yeah,
and they're always in the game. I mean, they just have
to
come up a little short yesterday.
Yeah.
So Steve, there was also some big games in northern New Jersey in high school football yesterday. Bergen Catholic and Don Bosco, which we've obviously, this is what we call the SEC of high school football in New Jersey. Powerhouse teams, and Bergen Catholic seemed unbeatable. They go and they go to Don Bosco's house, and they took it on the chin.
Yes, they did, and that was quite surprising for me. I got to say, Bergen. Bergen went out to Arizona to start the season and kicked the living crap out of.
Bergen lost at home. Bergen lost at home.
Right, Bergen was home. Okay.
Bergen was home. But Bergen, like I said, went out to Arizona, and I think it was the best team in Arizona, like from a group standpoint or level.
National ranking.
Yeah, but they kicked the crap out of them. And, hey, Bosco, again, we've talked about this, and, for our fans that are not in New Jersey, it's hard to tell you guys that when Joe's plays Bosco and Bosco plays Bergen and Bergen plays Joe's, any one of these teams can beat each other on any given Saturday. That's right. How evenly talented they are. But when we say it's high school football, it's really become like like college football, because these kids are, the offensive lines on these teams are averaging 280 pounds, 285.
No,
and the speed from the skill positions are just off the charts. And we talked about the backup quarterback at Notre Dame was at Bergen Catholic last year, right?
Yeah.
And on. Like, Luke Whippler, St. Joe's is starting center of Ohio State, and it's great for us. It really is.
Audric Estime, starting running back at Notre Dame. I mean,
absolutely.
Howard Cross. It's just great.
Right, Brian Cushing. 12 years in the NFL. Bergen Catholic, on and on.
It's just it's a football factory, but it's very great to see. But unfortunately, Steve, our St. Joe's guys came up a little short yesterday against St. Peter's at home. And that was a big surprise too, because they had the game pretty much sewn up, and there was a big comeback by St. Peter's, and normally we own them, but this was a 41-38 game in Montvale. It was, I mean, like you said, these are the teams every given week, and now we're playing Bergen Catholic in next week or the week after?
Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming
Love
up.
it.
But again, my concern about St. Joe's, and again, as alums and ex-Green Knights ourselves, is the amount of points that they've given up all year. Defensively, they really, I think every game they've given up at least 30 and several times 40. So that's got to be addressed. But when you watch St. Joe's, even though they're 2-3 now, I think their record is, they are still in the top 5 of the rankings of the state of New Jersey, because they would kick the shit out of anybody else outside Bergen, St. Peter's, and Bosco, and so on. So,
but I love this. I love this high school football, man. It's
and Ramapo, my Green Raiders, where my son attends, and he's not playing football anymore due to some injuries. And Ramapo's rolling. They're 8th in the state. They're probably the best public school out there right now. And Ramapo lost in the States last year when, a dear friend, Drew Gibbs, the head coach, passed away, who, it's still, this is the first year Ramapo is playing with a new coach, and the kids, they're loaded. And I wish them all, I really wish them much success, and I really hope they're able to bring a state title home.
Oh, no, I know your ties to Ramapo run deep as well. And, you coach these kids, and now you can see the maturation of these guys by the time they're 16, 17, and 18 years old. It's got to be so rewarding.
It is. That. It's very rewarding. It really is.
Great stuff. So, Steve, let's touch base on a couple of random points this week. Herm Edwards finally got fired. Like, I mean, you want to sit around talking about what took so long, right? I can't believe it took this long anyway. He ran this absolute corrupt college football program, and he wasn't, he never had any coaching experience. So he took it, to a different level and just brought that program to its knees. And I think that was a great move. And of course, our random points of interest is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. And I am looking at the president of Lynch Toyota as we speak. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
So Steve,
I'll have the sausage, Mike, with 3 eggs and an English muffin and a large
no,
orange juice,
he's
please.
done cooking. He treated us like royalty.
But
anyway,
back to Herm Edwards real quick.
yeah,
He hired Antonio Pierce, the Giants, linebacker.
yeah.
Antonio Pierce not only helped destroy that program, he did it knowing he was breaking the rules, and they shit canned Pierce last year.
Yeah.
Herm Edwards is the type where he's not really hands on. He's like, hey guys, hey man, that type of thing. So he turned a blind eye to this. I'm not defending Herm Edwards. I'm just saying when you do that, especially at a giant university in the Pac-10 like Arizona State,
yeah.
and you let the Antonio Pierces and you put them in charge of recruiting with absolutely zero experience to work from, that's a problem. And the point of why did it take this long? I was stunned by that. I really was.
Yep.
So Herm Edwards is rightfully gone. Arizona State has to start from scratch and build it back up. And
what do you think? What do you think about this? Because I did see some speculation that it could be Deion Sanders finally getting that D1 job, and Arizona State could be a fit, right? It could be a fit.
Coach Prime? You mean Coach Prime?
He's going places, right? I mean,
well, Coach Prime's son is on Jackson State. Coach Prime recruited, I believe. I forget the kid's name, but he was one of the top 10 recruits, I believe, in the country. And listen, Deion Sanders, it'd be good for the program. What is he? He's nothing about PR, and he'll recruit. People, black kids want to play for him. There's again, Deion is Deion, but Deion's not a bad person. Deion is right. I'm just saying Deion Sanders takes his job seriously at Jackson State, and they're doing well. So if Deion Sanders wants to bust a move to Arizona, but I'm all for it. I got no issue with that.
Yeah, I do too. I just thought that when I heard that Herm Edwards got it, I said, well, that opens the door for somebody. They got to shake it up. And the funny thing was, the guy that fired Herm Edwards used to be his agent as well. Like they were pals.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You ran this into the ground. I got no choice but to pull the trigger on this."
No, friends are not. Sorry.
Right. Yep. Another quick thing, Steve. There was I don't know if you saw it though. It was this crazy finish to a golf tournament last week. Danny Willett, right? Former Masters champ. It's hard to even get out, but
he is.
Right. So Max Homa chips in for eagle, and then Danny Willett 3 putts from 3 feet away. It was just Scott Hoke all over again.
I was just going to say Scott Hoke. Right? That's golf, right?
Golf.
And it's funny, even when I play golf, and again, I don't play enough to even warrant tell you I'm any good. I'm the type of golfer, if I get 10 good shots in 18 holes, that's a good day at the office. But my point is, like, I could be a foot, 2 feet away from the hole with a putt, and I might as well be 30 feet away. Right? And I'm like, how did I miss? How can I possibly miss this? And I miss it. Yeah, right? It's unbelievable. It really is.
But it absolutely.
So I put myself in that guy's position and say, you're one of the best golfers in the world, obviously. So it's unbelievable golf.
Right. It really was kind of one of those odd, once in a lifetime finishes, but it was pretty cool. One other thing I wanted to bring up. This is an odd situation going on in Boston with the Celtics. Right. Ime Udoka, I don't know the backstory yet behind. Do you know anything about this?
I do. Udaka's married to the actress Nia Long. And Nia Long is, to me, is quite attractive.
Yeah.
And there are 2 staffers. He had sexual relations with 2 staffers. One is a WNBA former player. That's yeah, working for the Celtics, and those two consensually, by the way, had an affair. And the other one, so he had an affair with another one. So the Boston Celtics catch wind of this, and the fact that he's suspended for a year, right?
Is that official?
That's
Is that
official. He's suspended for the whole year. And I forget the guy's name, his top assistant off the top of my head, but he's going to run the Celtics for this year. But what I found maybe surprising. I thought he'd be completely fired, gone, out, I'm done. Right? It's a black eye on the Celtics, especially winning the Eastern Conference last year, and now you have this soap opera to start the season, which is a couple weeks away, a few weeks away. Yeah, it's an odd story, but Isaiah Thomas, with the Knicks and all this stuff. It's not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last time. It just got publicized, and he's got to take his medicine.
And it is. I mean, we've seen the downfall of this over and over again of people, but he's a really good up and coming coach. And you're right. The Celtics were poised for bear this year. They were certainly a formidable team. I don't know how this changes the dynamic, but
Brad Stevens is in charge of the Celtics, and Brad Stevens is a pragmatic man. Brad Stevens is. I'm so impressed with Brad Stevens, his basketball acumen. And Brad Stevens, it was his decision, with ownership, obviously, to get their blessing. To your point, Udoka is a good coach. He's well liked by the players, but I guess the fans as well. And again, we live in a society where we make mistakes, and if you pay your medicine and you do the right thing, everybody deserves a second chance.
Yep. So that was kind of an odd thing for the Celtics. So that's
it was.
Right.
But it was different than having to hear about Harden and Kyrie and KD and and the King, because we're getting closer and closer to this, and Westbrook's, and I'm like, oh,
I know. Thank God football just started, so we can muscle that.
Correct.
Speaking of football, Steve, so I have our list, and this is always one of our favorite parts of the show. I'll throw the name out. You give me the yay or nay right off the bat, the Hall of Fame nominees for this year's class. And I'm going to obviously say I'm getting a yes from you on Darrelle Revis, right?
Unanimous, yes.
Right. Joe Thomas?
Unanimous, yes.
Yep. Dwight Freeney?
Dwight Freeney, I believe, is a Hall of Famer.
Me too. And I don't know if he's first time on the ballot, but he was a dominating force for the Colts.
No question.
And he's a Hall of Famer. I think he might even, was he a Syracuse guy?
I believe he was, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for Rusty and Bernie over there. How about this one? James Harrison.
James Harrison, I believe, is a Hall of Famer, yeah.
First ballot, he was good.
He was good. First ballot, debatable.
Yeah.
But James Harrison was a hell of a football player. So, yes.
No question. I don't dispute that.
I'm all in on Harrison.
Yeah. How about your guy, DeMarcus Ware?
Yes, I said when DeMarcus got denied, he's going to the Hall of Fame. My thing was, I thought he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if you look at his stats, I'm not going to recite them now for you, folks. You got to do it yourself. But when you see his stats, DeMarcus Ware, to me, first ballot. He's not going to be first ballot because he's already, wasn't voted in first ballot. But absolute Hall of Famer, no question.
Okay. Couple other ones, and I'm going to say, they could wait. Jared Allen.
Yeah. I mean, he'll get in.
Not right away.
Not right away. I mean, I'm not saying first ballot for Jared Allen, but Jared Allen will go into the Hall of Fame. There's no question.
You think?
Absolutely.
I don't know that he had that many years. That
I am. Garvey, chime in here, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Rondé Barber.
No. very good corner, very good Super Bowl champ. I mean, I'm just going to go for my standards. No, close, very close.
I think he's ultimately going to get in.
I think he'll get in, but I wouldn't vote for him.
No, that's not a Revis kind of free.
Not even close. Not even debatable.
And here's the one guy that keeps coming back up year after year, Devin Hester. And I think you made a kind of a decent case for him. I just, I'm on the fence with that.
No, he's absolutely going into the Hall of Fame. Devin Hester was the best returner, bar none, in history.
Okay,
he really was. And who were the standard bearers? White Shoes Johnson, right? White Shoes Johnson, that type of thing. But Devin Hester,
he was a game changer.
He was a game changer, and from a special teams point of view, you can't keep these guys out because they're just really special teams. He was he a wide receiver? Yeah, but is he known for that? No, but he was electric. He was the guy returning kicks and punts, and he scored a lot of touchdowns doing it. And absolutely,
Florida State guy.
Devin Hester. Rob, can you look that up? Because I don't know off the top of my head, Devin Hester.
I thought it was.
He might have been. But Rob can.
What was that?
Can you look up Devin Hester? What college he went to for the Bears?
I think it was Florida State. Go on a limb.
But Devin Hester, again, I'll keep repeating myself. Absolutely.
But those are the names, like I said, with Thomas and Freeney and Revis, and I think. Listen. Harrison, he could wait a year if Ware had to wait a year. The U?
The U.
Oh, that's right. The U. Absolutely.
Yep. So, Steve, we covered a lot of stuff already. We got our notable passings this week, and there was one notable passing from the world of sports, Maury Wills. And Maury Wills was 89, I looked up his stats. I mean, they're not bad. I mean,
they're not bad at all.
Wise, I mean, he was known for his base stealing ability, but there's always been a lot of debate about whether or not he gets in. That's kind of like the special teams, right? In football, whether or not a base stealer was so dominant that it would warrant some Hall of Fame, but he had a serviceable career.
I think he had what do you have? 2,100 hits or 2,300, something like that. Yeah. I believe he had over 900 stolen bases. I mean, that was his forte. I believe he was an MVP one year as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he came in second like twice or something like that. I don't think he got an MVP.
All right, Rob, can you look that up too, please? That's important. And, Maury Wills played on great Dodger teams. So, he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. So when you're playing on, great teams, but Maury Wills was well-liked. He was, after he retired, he was a manager. I'm not going to say he was the first manager of the Mariners, but, it was a short-lived and it was not a good experience.
Right.
But Maury Wills at 89 was a great baseball player. Hall of Fame. Now, unfortunately, I believe he falls short. He would have been in by now. He would have been in by now.
But he was a fixture.
So you got any stats on him?
MVP in 62.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Does it say how many hits he has and the stolen bases?
2134 hits.
There you go. It's
586 stolen bases.
986?
586.
586. Okay. All right. Wow. But I mean,
Hall of Fame.
He's a notable passing.
Notable passing, but so Steve, there was also this Jalen Hill. He was on the UCLA basketball team a couple of years ago, and they had a really good run in the NCAA tournament. 22 years old. Kind of a strange story. I'm not really sure what the backside of that was, but I know he went missing in Costa Rica or something, and I think he was dealing with some sort of, personal issues for a long time, but he was a good ball player for UCLA.
Yeah,
They had a good run in the tournament.
absolutely. And again, it's unfortunate. A kid in his early 20s probably now.
God, we brought this up by like 5 different occasions over the past month with these young kids, right?
Yeah.
Right, the linebacker from Ole Miss, and
Yeah, and the Bills tight end's younger brother, Luke.
Knox.
Luke Knox passed away. So
Right.
it's unfortunate, really.
Yep.
Hate to hear that.
And here's one, Steve, from the world of entertainment. And all I have to say is Nurse Ratchet. Louise Fletcher, 88.
Yeah. Nurse Ratchet, her most famous role in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And, when she wouldn't turn the TV on for Mr. McMurphy, it really pissed him off. But, I mean, that movie, right, Oscar, where Michael Douglas wins. A lot of people don't know Michael Douglas won an Oscar as a producer for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It was his first Oscar. Jack Nicholson obviously won for Best Actor. I think it won Best Picture. It was a great movie, right? Billy and Danny DeVito. Oh my God! They're playing poker with cigarettes and things. It was just.
It was
Chief.
hilarious.
Give me the ball, Chief. Pass me the ball, Chief.
Come on, Chief. Give me the ball.
Give me the ball, Chief.
But that was, listen, Louise Fletcher had a very good career. It wasn't just that, but that's a role that we actually, when we saw that, we said Nurse Ratchet.
Oh, absolutely. But she had a long, distinguished career. 88, it's a good run.
Yeah.
And R.I.P. Louise Fletcher.
Yep. So anyway, we covered a lot of stuff, Steve. We got to get back on the winning track here with our picks because
right, there's good weeks, there's bad weeks,
Yep.
And then real quick, the rain, the NHL is fast approaching. Actually, the first exhibition game is tomorrow night. So the Rangers opened up camp on Wednesday, I believe, and I like the Rangers. I like the roster, what they did. I think Drury did a great job, and we shall see. But the NHL is just around the corner, so there'll be five exhibition games, and before you know it, there'll be a drop in the puck. Rangers open up against Tampa, and I can't wait. I think our audience knows me and you love hockey very, very.
And I saw a good interview with. I like this guy Chris Kreider, and the question was, did you have a chance to enjoy that you scored 52 goals? And he says, no, because we didn't win the Stanley Cup. And that's the kind of guy that Drury has brought in. These are the foundation pieces. And I'm looking for big things from the Rangers this year for sure.
Right. And then Mike Garvey just chimed in asking about tennis. U.S. Open's over, the Laver Cup, future of tennis. Listen, Mike, if you got this asshole Kyrgios, in the semis or a final every tournament coming future, I'm not watching it. I can't. I said this a couple weeks ago. I am not watching this guy. I don't like him. I will not watch him. As far as the women's side, I think the women's side's fine. Venus, is going to retire. Serena, she should retire, but I don't think she can help herself. So I don't think that's official yet. It sounds like it is, but the up and coming, with Rafi is, Federer just retired, as we talked about last week. Rafi's getting there. Rafi's body is starting to break down, but this guy is a machine. And Djokovic.
Tennis. The future of tennis is in great shape.
It's in great shape. But my point is, like everything, you pass the baton to the next kids coming up. But Djokovic is not going anywhere. He's 32, so we can see him for another 5 years or so.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, Djokovic will have probably 4 to 5 more Grand Slams than
possibly,
than Rafi.
Yeah.
But yeah, tennis is, I think,
Really good place.
right. And then, before you know it, the Australian Open, and we do it again,
We do it
year after
again.
year. So
Rob, can you post that picture I sent over to you? Because I wanted to acknowledge the gang up here in Rhode Island. There it is.
whoa,
That's not bad, huh?
those are some ugly guys. Let me tell
It's
you.
not an
Woo!
attractive bunch, I'll give you that, but we had some fun.
Oh, I bet.
And a special shout out to Michael Lynch, who was our host, and he really just went above and beyond. It's phenomenal.
Can we get down a little? See what the hell's down there on the floor in front of you guys?
Anyway, so
Did you
listen,
guys
thanks
catch
for
any?
joining us, guys.
Did you catch any fish?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We caught some sea bass,
And we ate it
mutated sea
and we ate
bass.
it last night. And we ate it last night.
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
We did.
Good.
Fresh out of the ocean.
Wow.
Right?
Nah, that's it looks like a fun day. I've had the pleasure and privilege. It's been a long time since I've seen your buddies, but I'll never forget our when you graduated Niagara and that weekend that I came up and I had the opportunity to spend 3 nights and 4 days with these guys, and they're all class acts and funny and just good guys. And I'm glad you had the opportunity to have a little reunion there.
Me too. We had a little respite from COVID for the past couple of years, so we're back on track.
Right.
So listen, thanks for joining us, everybody. And again, we appreciate the comments. And Tony, good luck with your Niners and your new quarterback. And we wish you all the best. And Rob, thanks for the producing, as always. And we'll be back this time next week and do it all over again.
And for the tri-state area folks, Cooper Rush is coming to town tomorrow night. So he's a rock star.
My daughter Danielle will be attending the Cowboy Giant game tomorrow.
The Cowboy victory at exit 16W tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Anyway, so have a great Sunday afternoon, folks, and we'll catch up to you next week.
You bet. Bye.
See you guys.